What was
It was especially when they were starting out in the 90s. Welcome to another episode of Football Theory with your hosts, Guti and Ivan. Guti, how we doing, my man?
We're it's lonely up here, first place.
That's right. On this week's episode, previously on Football Theory, we left right after Mexico Canada, where there was some worries. There was some worries in the Mexican soccer community about Mexico tying against Canada. We're here a week later, 2 games later. Mexico gets 2 wins at home against Honduras, 3-0, and then a 2-0 win in the CONCACAF against El Salvador. I mean, let's go back. Let's to Sunday, get our emotions there. Mexico takes a 3-0 win. What are we feeling with that against a Honduras team who, you know, we were wondering with them, and I think Costa Rica we can talk about later, you know, them kind of being less, and you saw that this is not an Honduras of past years.
No, it's not, right? We kind of been saying that they haven't found their way. They're definitely gonna miss the World Cup this time around. Yeah, they got a lot of work to do, man. They're definitely like the dead last right now, right? So 3 points after what is that? 18 points available.
Yep.
So 3 of 18, you're not gonna go to the World Cup. So even if it's CONCACAF or not, I mean, they'd have to win out the rest of the way. So I can't say that they're not going, but they'd have to win out the rest of the way, and I don't see that happening. So
yeah, I think quickly touch on Honduras. After they lost that game to Mexico, I said that the winner of Honduras Jamaica, or the loser of Honduras Jamaica, would essentially be like eliminated, like lame duck style, where mathematically it might not be eliminated, but at this point, if you're dead last, you only got 3 points or 2 points, you know, whatever the result was going to be at the time. You're not making it's impossible to make that up. There's too many besides points, there's too many teams in the way of you, and you're really not for that. You really don't have anything to go after that, I thought. But for Mexico, it presented a great opportunity. They repeated a lot of the same players that they repeated from their draw against Canada, you know, with Alvarez, with Herrera, the front three of Jimenez, Lozano, and Corona. Archie was agreed with it. He liked it. He liked the lineup changes, as you can hear, or the not lineup changes, and he liked the way they played. And it was them able to kind of, you know, they dominated. They had control of the game. Honduras never looked to be in the match at all, I thought. And it was a perfect opportunity for Mexico to get a result, and they did that exactly, I thought, for Sunday.
yeah, and it was like I remember the Canada game. We kind of talked about a lot of players. I thought that took a long time to make subs, but I felt like he really had a plan. Like, these guys are playing regardless, and then these guys are playing regardless, and these guys are playing regardless. It doesn't look like he's making anything up, right? I think he kind of planned it that way. And when Honduras, we saw there was a couple more changes, but he was going back to Jimenez and trying to get him an opportunity to, get back in rhythm with the national team, because it's a lot different than with his club team, you know, because he doesn't see them as much, and it was time for him to come kind of test out some combination of players. So, but they overdid it. They were just too much for Honduras. At the end of the day, Honduras Minor Figueroa didn't help out the situation by getting a red card, and so Mexico was able to play a man up and at home in Azteca, and yeah, whoever went to the game went home happy, 3-0.
Yeah, even before the Figueroa red, Mexico just were on top of Honduras, and it felt more of a matter of time than it did if Mexico was going to score. And Raúl Jimenez, you made a good point. You know, he gets subbed out halfway through the second half. Funes Mori gets a goal. Cordoba gets a goal in the first half as well, and Lozano gets a great goal to end the game in the 86th minute. It was just a very professional performance for Mexico, I thought. You know, something that at times, especially in CONCACAF, you don't get very often. It just seemed like a very clean, very confident result where they kind of went back. They really wanted to hammer home and so Alvarez and Herrera and all these guys to get more minutes. And they each kind of felt that over time, they just kind of wore Honduras down. And it's the most, I don't know if like basic's the word, but just the most like palate cleansing, just very clean win that Mexico's had in a long time. And it just felt very needed coming off the tie, and felt like Tata had a plan of like, let's make sure we can really hammer this home with kind of almost the best team we have, just to really give us confidence before we go on the road.
Yes. Yeah, you got to secure those wins. I mean, people were already kind of upset with the one tie against Canada at home, but we said, there's a couple of teams that you kind of, it's okay. It's not going to kill you. Um, and I'm with you. I mean, it was a clean game, easy. I don't want to say easy win, but it was a comfortable win. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that's it. I mean, that's what ends it right there. Mexico Honduras 3-0. Like you said, the goals weren't like, there was a lot of good plays. Mexico didn't put them away when they had these good plays, but they put away these like ugly, balls that Honduras could not clear, and balls are bouncing everywhere, hitting posts, coming back. And those are the, in CONCACAF, you had to put those away because, it's that's the problem that Mexico had in Copa Oro, and the problem they had in even the Nations Cup or whatever, even the whatever. You got to put them away when you have them, regardless of how ugly they are. Putting those away is really demoralizing for the team, and being at home, you got to put it in either way. And both goals, Funes Mori, Cordoba were kind of just balls are just sitting there laying around, and you got to put it away. So it was good to see different guys score too. That's the cool thing, that a bunch of guys are scoring. It's not one person that Mexico's counting on to get goals from. So
yeah, and you see these guys wanting to take opportunity of the chances they're given. Like Cordoba comes in, starts, gets a goal, plays well. It's really about, especially he's one of those guys where we talked about Mexico's starting lineup. He's in a position where there's not a guarantee, or where you think about who's the people you're gonna lock in. He's in a position where that in the midfield, that third person with him, with Charlie, we talked about Guardado probably not having the legs to continue to be a starter in and they're out. So that spot's like there for the taking. Orbelin, Charlie, Cordoba, all these guys bound out for that spot. And yeah, I thought he did well taking the opportunity for him. Funes Mori gets a goal for a nice confidence booster for him after he was struggling as a starter. He comes in, gets a goal. Raul Jimenez, even though he hadn't scored up to this point, he just showed the quality that he brings being when he's on the field, and his just the pace at which he thinks and the way he reacts and the way he does everything is just a notch above everybody else, and just how much he was needed and missed the first time in. And you saw that in these matches, even though up to this point he hadn't scored yet.
Yeah, man, he looks so complete. He definitely looked like one of the best players on the field. And you can definitely see that they're trying to get him involved a lot, right? In all three games, like get the ball to Jimenez, see what he can do. And it was cool to see that. And it's cool to see, I told you, it was going to help Funes Mori to be a sub, because he's not the best forward available for Mexico, right? Raul Jimenez is the best forward if you're going to play with one forward. So, it was good for Funes Mori to kind of get that a little bit of pressure off him, like, hey, I have to score, I'm Argentinian and whatever, and be able to be that sub where it doesn't change the scheme of things. Because if you put a Henry Martin in, he's not the same kind of player as Raul Jimenez. He doesn't have the same qualities he does. He's a lot different. And so you kind of change the scheme and how things are played. But, Funes Mori has a lot of the same qualities Raul Jimenez does. He's probably a tad bit slower than Raul Jimenez and probably a little bit less crafty with the ball. But as far as like a figure up there, a post and holding the ball for you and open up the field and finishing, Funes Mori is good at that. So I think that was good for him to kind of be a sub and kind of use him that way. So that can kind of have that double option at the 9.
Yeah, and it's something interesting to note that one of the things that people have been frustrated about with Tata is, and we talked about this a little bit, was the players out wide with Gallardo and with Chaka. Chaka, actually, that's the first game he started all qualifying so far, was the one on Sunday. That's the first game he started. So I thought that's interesting. We've talked about him maybe Tata kind of slowly making changes little by little. Sanchez started on Thursday, and Sanchez has started, I believe, 3 of the 6 games and 3 of the 4 games up to that point for the most part. Mm-hmm. And so, I saw people getting frustrated that Chaka was back after that game. But it's just like, well, it's the first game he started in 5 for Mexico. Let's just relax. He's slowly, maybe he's getting funneling in, maybe getting funneled out. It really just depends. But I think you are seeing that kind of be willing to make changes a little bit, whether it's, even though it's kind of slow and maybe not at the pace that people want to be. But, you have to remember the World Cup is a still over a year away. This is not going to be the roster that you might see, even though you are seeing some components there. And
it's a long time. It's 2 full seasons away. The World Cup. We're talking about finishing this season. Then you got the spring season, wherever they're at, depending on Europe, is a full year. But then the World Cup doesn't get played until next fall, right? Next Thanksgiving. So you're technically almost finishing up the second season. So it's a long time. You don't know where Cordova is going to be. You don't know where Chaka's going to be. Obviously, Chaka, the age is not going to help him. And obviously, where, Tigres isn't doing well, but you don't know where a lot of these guys are going to be. You don't know where Gallardo is going to be. So I'm not so worried about what they do in Qatar, because at the end of the day, and I've said it before, that's a tournament itself. You go to the World Cup. It's not like, oh, well, you did so well in 4 years are going to matter. They really don't matter, man. It's a whole new thing, right? We've seen Spain come back with the same team and not qualify the second round. We've seen Holanda do it. We've seen a bunch of the teams do it. We've seen a lot of teams miss the World Cup. So to me, it's like, just go to the World Cup. Whoever the coach is, which we know Tata probably will be the coach, he's going to have over a month to get ready, before that tournament. And it's the luck of the draw who you get your team, and you just go play with what you got. So I don't think we have to focus too much on like how they're playing against Canada. Are they able to beat Honduras cleanly? Are they able to beat El Salvador? Like, nah, bro, let's just go to the World Cup. Let's just go to the World Cup and we'll figure it out in a year. We have a year.
Yeah. So the rest of the games on Sunday, you had Panama getting a 1-0 win against USA in Panama. A big win for them.
That was crazy.
Keep afloat. USA making 7-8 changes, I believe, from the team they used to beat Jamaica. Yeah. And so they come in, they drop points away again. I don't think they've won yet away, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they beat Honduras in Honduras.
Oh yeah, you're right. They beat Honduras in Honduras. You're right. So USA takes a step back. I think it was really interesting to see the blow up on from the USA side of fans and how they reacted to that defeat. It just kind of seems, I don't know, it seems that no one's ever happy with their team in CONCACAF, except maybe Jamaica, or no, it's not Jamaica, Canada. Even though Canada, coming off that draw against Mexico, and we mentioned this after that game, can Canada keep going? Can they get another result now that when they maybe should take the game to the opposing team? They play Canada, 0-0 draw, and Costa Rica comes back and beats El Salvador at home, which I think in retrospect is going to be a huge, when looking back, those were points that El Salvador could not afford to lose, because they kind of got themselves right back into it. And you are kind of seeing that Costa Rica doesn't have the legs, doesn't have the depth, doesn't have the youth to make, I don't think, to make a World Cup run here. And so for El Salvador, that was huge points lost at home, points lost away. Even though we did mention that Costa Rica does kind of have that vet savviness to get a result at home against a team like El Salvador, and they proved it. But I think El Salvador is kicking themselves for that.
Yeah, El Salvador showing their youth, man, showing their inexperience for sure. Going ahead to the next game, but even up to that point, like you said, losing some games. I think if they had to circle their map, they probably had to say, okay, against the Central American teams, we need to win, right? So we have to beat Honduras, we have to beat Costa Rica, but then and then we go to the Caribbean. We've got to beat Jamaica. We've got to beat Jamaica and find a way to beat them. And then they probably knew, okay, going in, Canada, U.S., Mexico are going to be tough opponents. If we could split with them somehow, 3 points, or somehow get 4 out of it, somehow do something, they'd be able to pull their way into the fourth position. But it's going to be a tough way on the second time around for sure for El Salvador.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you just look at the fact that they dropped those 2 points to Costa Rica, they could have been at 7, Costa Rica could have been at 5, and El Salvador could have been at 5th place, just right behind Panama. And instead, if we want to move on to Wednesday's matches, you have El Salvador hosting Mexico in a game where there was some stories coming out, or the video out of El Salvador fans keeping Mexico players up all night, serenading them, as they like to say, with the music and with the noises and the cheering and everything. For me, the game was so just like a very classic, like CONCACAF match, where it's not really matters how you get the result. The important thing is getting the result, and Mexico coming in and getting a result where you had two red cards, you had pretty sloppy play, the game, a lot of starts and stops, lots of fouls. It was like, I don't know if a game would be proud for Mexico, but it's like you take so much confidence that you can know you can grind a result like that away in a tough environment like in El Salvador.
And that's where the experience that we talked about that Mexico has to show. Yeah. That a lot of these players have done. They said they had a crazy stat yesterday. I think Hector Moreno has 3 goals. in 3 visits to El Salvador, I think they were saying.
Yeah.
So like,
and 5 goals overall for Mexico.
right. So you you look at that and you're like, that's a center back. That's a guy we're questioning, even like, should he be around this cycle? That's a guy who's a veteran, who's played what, 3 World Cups already. Is it going to be 4? Maybe it would be 4, I think, going in to this next one. And so you look at that, you're like, he's scoring goals. That's why Hector Moreno played that game. Remember, we talked about Hector Moreno would be subbed in for that Salvador game, but probably not Canada. So there he's in for that game. Scores a goal, and a bunch of other guys. It was very, like you said, very classic Mexico and Salvador. Another game, obviously very comparable, is when they go play Honduras too. It's very like, it's just a grindy game. The fans are all over it, and it's good. It's good for the Mexican players to also play in those environments and not always get to play in Dallas or get to play. I know they're outnumbered this year in the Cotton Bowl, but that's one of the first time in a long time, right? But being able to play against another fan base is good for Mexico. It's good for the players. It's good for their growth, especially some of the young ones. But also you saw Tata. That's why he kind of leans toward these veterans, right? That's why we're so up in arms, like, where's all the young guys? USA's throwing all these 18-year-olds out. And it's like, but if Mexico doesn't have to do that, why would they do it? At the end of the day, we're just trying to have a World Cup. No one's going to give you, points for having younger players playing. You don't get extra points for that. You just want results, right? And so a lot of these players are going in there. Hector Herrera, Moreno, Ochoa have been in some really messed up games for Mexico. They've been part of the Mexico 7-0 Chile, right? They've been part of some of the choke jobs before con El Chepo, and before that too, some of the guys were there too. So just being able to, use that experience and just kind of get through it, and I think that's why Tata counts on them. And that's why Tata doesn't really shake it up. He doesn't shake it up. Here we go. Veterans go out there and get this W in El Salvador.
Yeah, even though they did make some changes, you had Rodriguez start, you had Pineda and you had both Carlos Rodriguez and Osvaldo Rodriguez start. So he changed it up a little bit, but when he needed to make the subs, a couple guys go off injured early, he brings in the vets in those subs, in those early subs, right? Herrera comes in, Corona comes in. He's going with people that, okay, we tried to do something new, some things need to be changed. Well, let's go. If we have to throw some people in, let's make the veterans come in. Even after Araujo got the red card, instead of throwing in Vasquez, he goes and he brings in Chaka and he moves over, got the Dominguez over to the center back, a more traditional position. And so and I thought those moves were smart because it just kind of, like you said, these guys have been in these situations before and they just kind of know how to grind results out. They're not surprised by any of it. While still at the same time, now some other guys get experience in these environments too, like Pineda, like Rodriguez, like Vega, even though he got injured.
But Vega gets injured too much, man. That's a different time.
Yeah, second time.
Like more than that, don't forget, when he was younger, he would go to Selección under 20s or 22, 21s and go back to Chivas injured. It's like, this guy cannot pick up a rhythm, it's like, we're waiting for him. He goes in, gets injured, and I was just telling my friend, it kind of reminds me of Marco Fabian, like when he was kind of hot, he would get injured all the time. And you're like, dude, like you want him, he's one of the most talented players. And like, here you go, boom, 10 minutes. And it's always like something like weird too. Like, oh my God, so that sucks for him because it could have, been another little breakout game for him, but he'll be in the mix, He'll be in the mix.
Yeah, absolutely. I think healthy is definitely in the mix because he definitely brings something to them. For El Salvador's sake, I thought even though they weren't, they couldn't match Mexico's talent and Mexico's skill, especially once they got to 10 players each, I thought El Salvador, what they don't do, they don't quit. They're on you. They have such como garra. They have a lot. There's just like a lot of fight in them, and they make it very uncomfortable for you, especially when it was 10-10. Even though they weren't creating that many opportunities, I thought Mexico still kind of kept them at arm's length away for the most of the game. They never sat back to they never sat back too much. They were constantly putting the pressure on Mexico, at least making Mexico really earn that win. And so I think that's really good for El Salvador moving forward as we enter the second half of qualifying with the return legs of all these. So I think you kind of see that out of El Salvador, where they're gonna pest. They have an idea of what they want to play, and you can tell they love playing for their coach, and they're gonna make it. Even if they're outmanned,
you hit it.
They love playing for their coach, and they can and they're gonna give it all for them. And he has them buying in, even if their talent's not there, they're gonna keep swinging. They're gonna keep going at it.
That's what I was gonna tell you. That's kind of the big difference between Honduras. I know they're different generation of players, but you can kind of see it. You don't see it from Honduras, but you do see it from El Salvador. That they're only 3 points down from the 4th position. It's not over, right? They're still in it, but they don't. I'm pretty sure they don't want to play the playing game against New Zealand or whoever they had to play. So, looking at that, I think they are bought into what Hugo Perez is giving them. Hugo Perez is definitely using this, because don't forget, man, he was in the U.S. system. I've said it before, and the rumors are that because he had training sessions in Spanish, or I don't know what it was, but there was definitely some issues with that and the language that he was using, or I don't know. That's what the rumors were. But Hugo Perez is showing, man, what he can do with a very young, I would say, inexperienced group of players. Because you look at the Mexican team, they were arm lengths away. Mexico always looked kind of in power, obviously, but the players, you look at Raul Jimenez, who plays in the EPL. He's taking the PK. You got Tecatito Corona, who plays in Porto for many years. Hector Herrera, who plays everywhere. A bunch of different guys we're talking about, and they're playing in El Salvador against some young Salvadorian players that either play in the Salvadorian League, MLS, or even
USL.
What was that? USL?
USL.
Yeah, USL. And then his nephew is signed with Inter Miami, I think, or is going to sign with them, but hasn't even played yet. So it's it's all over the place. It's the roster's not there, but they're grinding, man. They're only going to get better. El Salvador's only going to get better. And I don't know if this is the World Cup for them, but I think the next one, there's obviously going to be a big window with those top 3 teams already hosting the World Cup, So we'll see when we talked about that. They could have a shot to fight for something like that.
Absolutely.
It was good. It was good. I think that, like you said, managed it right. I did like that Osvaldo Rodriguez got to play. I felt like maybe Tata's finally, who was finally, okay, in this window, let's try to get some guys that don't get to play an opportunity. And that's why you saw a different lineup as well at the beginning. And it wasn't a disrespect to El Salvador. I think it was more like managing the group, because at the same time, as a coach, you also want to give guys a chance to be on the field, because then it's you keep calling them, taking them away from their club teams when they could be resting or training, and you got them coming over here and you don't give them an opportunity to get on the field. At least you can see what, you have some kind of film on it, give them some kind of experience that they could use and take back with them. So it's part of managing a group. So I thought he did good with that, on that part.
Yeah, I thought he managed it fine. I think he definitely had, it looked like he definitely had an idea of what he wanted to kind of do in these matches. And so I think he wanted to come in all right, let's make sure we hammer and get these points at home against Honduras, especially after we drew with Canada. Let's get these points with Honduras with a team we're kind of very comfortable with these guys who know that can deliver in Mexico City. And in El Salvador, I think he probably thought we have enough to kind of switch it up a little bit and give these guys a game, give these guys confidence in a different environment. And I thought, Tata did he did good. He had a good week. He had a good week for himself. You play, and you have players like Cata Dominguez coming in, and both games he's played, he's done well. He's been having to play out of position as a right back. Neither of them have been at home, so he's environments that he's not used to, and he's not really making mistakes. He's delivering. He's doing what he's a
veteran, man.
Yeah, he's coming in veteran. We're not. Who knows if he makes the roster for the World Cup? But right now he's delivering and doing a nice plug-in guy, and I think that's you got to be a shout out to players like that in these rosters where he's coming in, he's doing what he's being asked, and he's doing it well. He's not shining or being like a superstar or anything like that, but he's not making mistakes, and he's kind of just doing exactly what the coach asks, and you can kind of see the confidence growing in Tata and him, and him and himself too, I think.
Yeah, no, Tata. Yeah, I meant Kata. Kata, he's been solid, man. He's been solid this entire time with his club teams. It's not like he's been a star or very outstanding player, but he's always just been in the mix, starting, captain, sometimes, winning titles. Well, he won one, but, working really hard to be there. I think it's kind of those guys just been around where Tata's okay, I need a guy in this position. Who do we got? And there's not that many. There's not that many with that kind of experience that are still able to play in a national team. And I don't think he'll be in Qatar. It'd be hard for him to be in the 23 list with everybody healthy and different guys with some experience. You never know where these guys will be playing in a whole year from now. Like I said, Johan Vasquez hasn't seen it yet, but everyone's kind of waiting for him to make that next jump. But we've seen what he did before, obviously in Liga MX, so he should have already been given a chance. So we'll see. Gata was, like you said, Gata was that multifunctional guy. Like, hey, play right back. Okay, now play center back, and let's put Chaka in. That was cool to see that. Nestor Araujo, man, making kind of a really boneheaded play where he didn't even react after he did it, where it's kind of like he knew it was stupid. He knew there was no need for it. I don't understand what went through his mind. Yeah, man. I mean, not even Carlos Salcedo does that. I mean,
see what with the red card, I thought because there's no VAR or anything, and he gave him the red. I thought he's just kind of like, come on, man, because I thought it was Corona who did most of the contact, and Corona said it's me, that was my foul, and the ref gives the red card to Araujo. So I think it was more his reaction, like, are you kidding me? Like,
right? No, I'm not saying he didn't care. I think he was definitely in shock. Like, really, dude?
Yeah,
like,
I think that was more his reaction. Like, yo, that wasn't even me who did it. It was him.
Yeah, like, and I think it was definitely one of those what do they call those little made up ones where the referee knew. I think he felt bad for the red he gave to El Salvador, and I think at that moment was like, you know what, the next opportunity comes up, I'm gonna have to show the card, and that way he washes his hands and walks away, right? And it's like 10 on 10. Hey, I was even. We saw a couple other plays that should have been like reds from El Salvador, like cleats up, taking guys out on the ankle, different fouls that one PK where before the PK they called, that was definitely very iffy. But I think also, again, the referee's like, well, I missed this last one, right? Because the guy goes sliding in. Raul Jimenez already takes him, and then he swipes his leg up from the top and hits him with the right foot. And it's like, bro, how do you not get that? Like, he kicked him, So I thought they were very iffy, but it was like more of those like, hey, I got you. The next one is close. It's on me. I got it.
Yeah, I think with the Johan Vasquez part, he hasn't played yet in Italy, so he's coming in, not getting minutes. He wasn't there a month ago in the last call up, so this is the first time he's really seeing what Tata really wants. Because the Olympics, he wasn't there for them. Tata wasn't there. So this now he spends a week kind of almost learning and kind of seeing the way the environment is. So maybe we see him in a next month. Maybe if we want to look forward to the U.S.-Mexico game, I don't see Tata going with Vasquez or Moreno against the U.S. I think he might go with the veteran guy like Moreno over Vasquez. Yeah, no, right. With Montes, but you see when the opportunity given, like Montes has really taken it and has started to really shine and do well. But the things that Montes are doing well, Moreno's also doing well. Besides the defending, the organizing and the playing the ball out of the back, he's been doing quite well actually too. Long balls and short balls and kind of breaking lines. So I think Vasquez time will come, but people I think have to be patient and kind of see the match up in the game and kind of also recognize that he's not playing right now in Italy yet. So he needs to get his feet under a little bit too. And it will come, I think.
Yeah, he definitely needs to just get playing time and start playing. And that's kind of like the knock, right? Why a lot of players kind of fear moving on from like one league to the other. Because if Johan Vasquez was playing in the Liga MX, he probably would be, getting a better opportunity to play because he's playing. But the fact that he's like this, like you said, is big unknown. It's been a little while. He's over there in Italy, just like trying to figure out how to get in.
And he got hurt too.
Yeah, and he came off injury, and so that it's kind of happening. Like there's a couple other guys that are in Europe too. Macias, obviously no one's watching those games at all. If he would be scoring, people would turn on TV, but no one's watching those games. And then you see Pisuto, who's been in like France for a long time in Ligue, how do you say that one? He's been there, but he doesn't play, and now he's injured. So, but like I think a lot of these guys kind of fear that, like, I'm gonna go over there, no one's gonna see me, or I could just play in Cruz Azul and get playing time and get a chance. So it's kind of like both ends to it. But I think in the long run, Vasquez will get a chance. He is still hecka young. He already has experience. So I think it's just a matter of time. Like it's a matter of time for him to start playing, and he'll be all right. He'll be the guy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because we're dying the center back after 30 something plus. We have like 20 21-year-olds. So like we have this big like 10-year gap between our center backs.
Well, yeah, some people really don't like Araujo. They're not fancy. But when you look at he was the third guy of the people who thought were going to be the center backs of that Olympic team. He didn't really even play in the Olympics. It was Iran Mir and it was Reyes. And both of them, those were the guys who started and played all the Olympics. And those were supposed to be the guys to step in and be the next guys. And these guys are the ones who are supposed to be in their peak. And it never materialized for them.
No.
So
I mean, there were also injuries on both their parts, but Reyes, I think talent-wise, is not there. Iran Mir got injured a lot. And he continues.
Yeah, but out of all the guys from that age group, he was the third one out of them. So
he was definitely not the first.
And he's making he's making the most, and he's getting the most out of it what he's become. So sometimes we have to appreciate the gap stops in players.
Yeah, it'll be cool. I mean, I think that he'll figure it out. He'll find somebody going there. I don't know. You might see Kata play, man. I mean, at this point, we don't know who to go with. I mean,
Kata's giving off Hugo Ayala vibes as a 3-player. You know what I mean? The guy who's kind of always been there, kind of with his club team.
Don't forget, they also got to play with Chepo too. I mean, some guys get called up. Hey, I need a center back. Where you at?
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see.
You don't have to be fast, bro. You just gotta get there.
Like Hugo Ayala made up for all of his international, because he was always like a fringe player, really never got called up to a lot of tournaments, was always in those Gold Cup teams that would go to the Gold Cups when the team would be at the Confederations Cup. And then he goes and plays the game of his life against Germany, you know what I mean? Just out of his mind. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like you at that moment, everything was worth it. Everything that he did was worth it. And he gives Mexico the game of his life.
Kata could be Kata could go be in Qatar, man. You don't know.
He could be the Hugo Ayala. Okay, so look at the other games that happened yesterday. USA beats Costa Rica after being down 1-0 in the first minute. Canada 4-1 at home, flexes, gets a good win, a real important win, one for themselves, getting a result at home against Panama, and two, because then Panama were kind of had been battling out the first couple of games of this thing as that third team, and now here they kind of take a step, and then Jamaica at home, or Jamaica gets away result against Honduras 2-0, and really pushes Honduras to the back and keeps them just barely afloat and keeps them kind of in the mix for that fourth spot. Mm-hmm. So U.S. Costa Rica, I mean, for me, and I'm not sure, yes, no takeaways, Costa Rica just doesn't have the legs, just doesn't have it enough of it to really put themselves in a World Cup situation this cycle.
Yeah, it's not the no. This isn't going to be the group to make it. They're not going to qualify, I don't think. And yeah, you're going to just see a bunch of guys just exit the national team. I think they're just holding on to. They're just calling names now at this point. Like we said, the names that we continue to see, even Navas, and just a bunch of names they have. All the big names that any player that's ever played anywhere that's not Costa Rica gets to play. And I just don't think there's the planning behind it. I mean, you have to take these generations slowly, but you also have to, be ready for that generational change. You cannot just, be so excited because you have this group that did so well 8 years ago in a World Cup, and you continue to call the same guys. I mean, go back 8 years ago. I don't know how many guys Mexico have that they still have from 8 years ago. Maybe 5, maybe a handful.
Like when Saborino came in, I knew that was tough for Costa Rica.
It's like you're calling guys that if I know them, and I don't follow Costa Rican soccer, so if I know the names, you're definitely not working at trying to find new names. Your league's not producing players. You don't have the, that vision of getting players to Europe like they did with Keylor Navas, like they did with Joel Cambo and Brian Reese and the different guys you said. So it's just they got caught, man. Costa Rica's in the same spot as Honduras, except Honduras doesn't have the names. So it's the same thing. They're just trying to go with what they got. They're trying to see if they could just qualify. But past qualifying, what are they really going to give you in Qatar? I mean, there's no way they could, decide, okay, I think we're gonna make a run in Qatar. I don't think so. So I mean, it's gonna be rough for them. Canada's on the way up. They got the names. And Costa Rica and Honduras are definitely going to get caught in the middle right there, man, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and even with that said, if Keylor Navas doesn't get hurt, doesn't come off, like when he came off, USA might not win that game, if we're being honest with you, like
No, it would. It should have been. It should have been a tie.
Even with all that, yeah, the fact that Keylor Navas had to come off, the goal that USA scores to get the lead, probably someone of the ilk of the World Cup quality of world-class quality of Keylor Navas gets a hand on it enough and pokes it all the way out for a corner and out of bounds. And then you don't know how the rest of the game goes because, it's a butterfly effect. But yeah, I just, even with those things about Costa Rica, USA still don't look like they click enough. They don't play a whole 90 minutes yet. Even though they're in second place right now. Yeah, they haven't played a full 90 yet. They haven't even played a full 45 yet, really, to be honest with you. But they're just kind of playing Bruce. And I said this like a couple episodes ago or however long ago, that they just play kind of Bruce Arena soccer, just with better players. If I'm being honest.
I mean, yeah, with younger, better players than in Europe, and I think that people are just. That's why when this generation of players were coming out and everybody was making this big deal of these players in Europe, I didn't think that Berhalter was the coach for this, and I still continue to think that until he proved.
A lot of U.S. fans are agreeing with you because they are fed up with him.
But when he first started, when he got named, I was like, who? And I had a bunch of buddies that are, real U.S. players, former U.S. national team players, and they're like, no, he's the guy. He's whatever. He's young, this and that. I'm kind of like, is he though? Because to me, like this kind of group is the group that, like, shoot, even Tata Martino could coach or somebody else. I just feel like it's another group. It's a different style of manager with young guys that you're trying to like form and teach them how to play like veterans, teach them how to play together. I don't know if like being buddy, and wearing the Nikes and stuff on the side. I don't know, man. It just doesn't click to me. He's not the coach for that young group. It's kind of like when I kind of see in the NBA when you got this like really young team, you got like this veteran coach kind of putting them in their place first, and then someone else comes in. I just don't see it. I don't know, man. That's just me. I'm not the guy making the moves, but I didn't think he was the guy. I don't see the style of play that everyone keeps saying they're going to see. Like everyone's like, oh, this is so, and I know we're just trashing it here, but on Twitter, people just keep putting these names up. All these U.S. players that are like kind of, marketable names. And like, oh my God, it's going to be so much fun. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like these same players have been on the field so many times. I've not seen anything. These are like same guys that are like, winning this by like one goal or by a PK or like, struggling against this team or barely beating, Canada or barely beating Jamaica. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know what do you mean by fun? Like, what is it that, I don't know. It's like the names are not connecting, bro. They're not connecting to make this 11 play. That's just me.
Yeah. I think a lot of U.S. fans will agree with you that Berhalter is not the guy. I think they definitely want to see somebody else. It's kind of similar to Tata in the way that I think a lot of Mexican fans aren't happy with Tata either. I think there's the difference, and the thing is, neither of them are going to get fired because both of them are going to qualify to the World Cup, and both of them are just it's who they're with. I think with Mexico and Tata, there's more an agreement that maybe this probably isn't going to work out in the long haul, but for right now, it is what it is, and we're just going to go with it. And then probably after the World Cup, we're going to go our different ways. With US, this feels much more like in a relationship, someone trying to make it work long term, and somebody else kind of knowing it's not going to work long term, but they just know that they just haven't broken up with them yet. Whereas with Mexico and Tata, it just kind of seems like they both know like this is going to run its course at some point, and at some point we're going to break up, and it's going to be what it's going to be. But with US, it kind of just seems much more like they're really trying to shove two puzzle pieces together that don't fit, even though they don't fit
because like, but they're on two different paths because the Tata coming in, Mexico's used to these big name coaches, right? So Tata coming in is more like, hey, we have this group of guys. It's not the best generation ever produced. It's a bunch of guys kind of hanging off of this other generation we had, and some guys kind of creeping up. Can you make this work? You're not hired to win these things. You're hired to do one thing in the World Cup, which is transcend and get to the next round. Please make us competitive. That's it. Literally, that's it. And the U.S., I think Berhalter has a tougher task because they didn't make the World Cup last time, right? but a bunch of names came out of that. And so because you didn't make the World Cup, they just erased everyone that ever existed from that team, right? Besides Pulisic and maybe 2 other guys. And they bring everyone else back. They bring all these new guys in. And they're giving him this task of like, okay, bro, here's the golden generation. Let's play like Barcelona, 2008, right? Go. And I don't think he's the coach for that. And I don't think he ever proved to be the coach before he got the job for that. I don't know who in the federation said he's the guy for this. It just doesn't.
His brother works in the federation.
Oh, I know. It's all like that. But I felt like, I don't know. I just felt like this was the moment for, I don't know, maybe Jurgen Klinsmann was for this group and not the other one. I don't know, some other coach, you know?
I would completely agree with you that Jurgen would be a good fit for this group. You know, I think Bob Bradley's style would work well with this group, to be honest with you, because Bob Bradley's he's been all over the world. He's learned a lot. He's never been afraid of taking chances or anything of that nature, even though he was kind of a disciple of Bruce Arena. I think Bob Bradley plays a much more attractive, and it's more in his DNA to play a much more attractive style than any of these guys right now. I think I recall Tata. I don't know if he wanted the USA job, but they were
no. He was up for the job.
They didn't want to give it to him because he didn't speak. Yeah, he didn't speak English.
No, that was a real thing, man. Because remember, he won with Atlanta United, so they said, "Hey, he won MLS. He's played with guys that are, some American.
He knows the league and players. Been Europe.
He played the MLS way. He won it, and the US and Atlanta came out playing well too. And so they're like, "Hey, let's do this." And I think the language barrier was a thing, bro. I think that was a real thing, which is very pathetic, actually, very pathetic. And so this is true. That's 2 rumors, right? Hugo Perez doing this with the youth team, not hiring this guy for speaking Spanish. So I mean, we can continue to set the trend here, putting the game in Nashville, putting the games in Cincinnati, but that's a different story.
Yeah. I mean, so quickly, let's touch on Canada. Canada, big win again, 4-1. I mean, Alphonso Davies showing that he might be the best player in the region with the game he had against Costa Rica or against Panama. I mean, I think everybody kind of knew that he has that potential, and he's always going to be in those conversations as now one of the best players in the region, if not the best. Canada gets, this is the kind of result I wanted to see out of Canada. You're at home. You've gotten 2 away results the first 2 games in this qualifying week. Can you deliver at home against a team like Panama, who will be happy to take a draw? And they tied 1-1 at halftime, and they turned it on the second half. And I'm really starting to believe in like what I see out of this Canadian team, especially getting the result against Panama at home, because Panama has been pretty good all this qualifying. So, Canada getting 5 points, 2 results away, 2 draws away, huge for them. I think that for them, it has been a great week for them, because now they're at 10 points. They're not in a comfortable position, but they're in a really good position right now with 6 games gone and 10 points out of those 6 games. Yeah, no,
Alphonso Davies is the biggest threat for sure in the whole CONCACAF. I think, but with that being said, we didn't see it against Mexico. You didn't see it against, I don't know if you're going to see it, against US, but I don't know. He is definitely the biggest threat. He is the fastest. I mean, he plays in the best, he plays in Bayern Munich. He plays a lot. He's more consistent than any other guy. He's definitely, what the funny thing is, if you remember that, it was for the bid for the World Cup, and CONCACAF sent 3 players. And I don't know if you remember, but it was they sent Diego Lainez for Mexico, Alphonso Davies. And I think for US, it was a girl. I don't think it was Polish. I think it was a girl. I think it was a girl. I think it was a girl player, like a young woman, right? I think it was. Yeah. So it was 3 players. They sent them to go talk, right? And it was they were going to talk, and it was a little thing for the bid. And, just to see where they're at. Because Alphonso Davies, from that point, obviously was already highlighted, hey, he's our guy from Vancouver to freaking Bayern. Look where he's at. And Lainez, we're still trying to figure out if Lainez is going to stop getting injured so he could play.
Yeah, but
just to see the difference, right? Because you're talking about Alphonso Davies being here and Lainez not being. I know he's injured, but Lainez still not making that. We're where are you, bro? Are you?
Yeah.
Are you there? Because Mexico could play without Lainez.
Yeah.
Canada cannot play without. Canada cannot win without Alphonso Davies.
No, absolutely. And they're in different parts of the development too. Where I think Alphonso had this huge growth period where, he was. There was an opening at Bayern for him to play. He got it. He took it, And yeah, he's just with that opportunity, he's taking leaps and bounds from it. And he plays on a national team where it really kind of is worked around him because of the generation. There really isn't that much of a generation above him. And so it's worked that seems like it's been working out nicely for him with this Canadian team so far. And then, our Jamaica, I started to not believe in them. You kept believing in Jamaica, and here they come on 4 points. They get a draw against Canada midweek, and then at Honduras they get a huge win, pretty much eliminating Honduras and just kind of keeping themselves alive. Just 3 points behind Panama. The Reggae Boys staying alive, keeping our hopes up. Big week for them too, because they were almost dead after the first week of qualifying games, and here they are keeping alive. And I think they should be better than Costa Rica at the end of this. And it's really, even though Costa Rica is kind of still in it, you're talking about Panama, El Salvador, Jamaica, all kind of battling for that fourth spot. It'll be interesting because they showed fight. There's been a couple times where they definitely could have phoned it in, and it could have been, they could not have been eliminated for qualifying, but definitely just so close to kind of being like a lame duck, and they haven't. They keep battling. So big shout out to their coach who's been there for a while and keeping them above, keeping them afloat, especially with them not being able to have the players that they've wanted so far with this project.
Yeah, they haven't had the guys they wanted. COVID affected them, and the travel ban. So I think, man, we'll see, man. The second time around, Jamaica's going to squeeze in, man, get that fourth spot. I'm telling you, if not, they could still fight for the third. They're only 5 points behind, behind third place. So it's definitely not over. It's still definitely going to be hard for Mexico to play in Kingston. U.S. still has to go to Kingston, right? So it's not going to be easy going over there for sure.
So if we want to quickly look at the next fixture. We won't jump to the 16th, but we'll just jump to the 12th because that'll be the halfway point at 7 games each, and then everybody's played everybody. U.S. Mexico is kind of the one that everybody's going to look at. In the overall scheme of things, it probably doesn't mean much because they're both looks like they're very much on their way of qualifying because no one's getting 9 points out of these qualifying games, out of these weeks. So I think, but that's the show stealer. If Mexico gets this one, they're in a very good position if they get a result. Panama, Honduras, if Honduras at home, another game at home, they really have to get that one.
Yeah.
You have Canada, Costa Rica, Canada with a great opportunity to again kind of continue to push. And then you have El Salvador, Jamaica, El Salvador at home, 5 points each. That one is almost not as big as U.S. Mexico, but almost more important because you have these two teams. If whoever wins that one, huge at the halfway point. For in comes to importance and really looking at yourself where you're at, Jamaica, El Salvador is gigantic.
That's like that 8-9 seed, right? In the March Madness, right? Where it's they're right, they're touching each other. It's going to be a tough game. To Jamaica, I'm telling you, man, November 12th is a little while away. That's a month away, bro. So things can change, as far as who they can bring in, if they can figure out who they're going to bring. And that's only a 2-game window, right? So you come in, you bring guys in that you're expecting to be able to play 2 games and not, 3 is different. 3 is way different.
Yeah, less planning. Yeah,
less planning. So it's like, hey, you're playing this game. This guy will sub in for you. The next game, I'll put these 3, and then these guys sub in for you, and that's it. So you go all out. I think the U.S. Mexico, you're going to see obviously a really close game. Mexico playing with this urgency of we just got, embarrassed this summer, and the U.S., kind of living off this let's get, let's show our, the gap is closing, right? Let's show that. And so, like you said, it's not a big game as far as who's qualifying because we know both are going to qualify, but it's very important for both teams to get this win here, especially in Mexico. I think it's good for Mexico to play on the road the first time around because playing Azteca to make this kind of win is kind of it's even extra pressure. So I think playing in Cincinnati in a new place where U.S. is trying to move it around and be a host dominant team, it's going to be good for the Mexican players to step up and try to get try to get a result, man, get a payback, man, get this win right here. Soccer has a quick memory, right? So we win this game. No one remembers the summer. That's over. No one cares about a Gold Cup anymore or Nations Cup League 2000, so.
Yeah, you're right, because qualifying is going to be qualifying takes precedent over the summer tournament, and so a win here, a win away in a place where it's purposefully placed, where U.S. has an idea that Mexican fans, as many fans, won't go. It's huge, but we're a week away, or we're a month away for that. Mexico does have a friendly in 2 weeks, so it'll be interesting to see. There's still time for this, but yeah, huge.
This is gonna be the toughest. This is gonna be the toughest. Sorry, it's gonna be the toughest window for Mexico for sure. You have U.S. and Canada,
and both away. Yeah, cold.
Both away, but it's a good way. Hey, you go away. I know we're a little whiles away to talk about this, but I think in this one, I think you're cool with 4 points, but you want 6. And I think that's going to be the goal. Goal is obviously 6, but I think 4 points is a good window here with 2 away games against the number 2 and 3. Well,
yeah, and it's a great opportunity, and it's it's a great opportunity. Like you said, it's just 2 games, bop. You don't have to plan around like rotating or doing anything like that. It's and that's for all the teams, right? Especially when we talk about the lack of depth for El Salvador or Panama or these guys who don't have a lot. By that 3rd game, a lot of travel, a lot of legs gone. Here's just pop. Can you do it? And toughest window, you're right, for Mexico, because they're both away and they're both in uncomfortable locations, where you're going to Cincinnati in November, which is going to be terrible. And then you have to go to Canada, which is going to be in Edmonton, I think, the Commonwealth in Edmonton, I think is the stadium.
Hey,
so it's a good opportunity to really prove themselves.
Yeah, it's a good way to prove themselves. It's like a win-win, man. You get the W, boom, you get 2 Ws. You show that difference between the other teams. You bring in everyone you have, your top dogs, you go for that. And then that means that the next windows will be a little bit lighter, especially with, closing rounds. And then you can move now they're talking about moving host cities. Now they're talking about, changing a couple guys, giving someone else an opportunity to play. So it's a good opportunity to kind of seal it right there, seal it, get those 2 wins right
metaphor. Yeah. Like it's a really good character test of these group of players. Can you do it? Because if you do it, like you said, we'll give yourself a good leeway, because now you've gotten 3 points above both of these guys, and now you're further out, easier to qualify. And at that point, you have 2 away games, I think, out of the last 6, and 4 at home, if I'm not mistaken. After this,
you have El Salvador at home. So you go to Jamaica. I have not even looked at the schedule, but I know you go to Jamaica. You still have to go to Honduras. Right? That's the only 2, but you're going to get Panama at home. You're going to get El Salvador at home. You're going to get Costa Rica at home too. Yeah. And the other team. Yeah.
USA. And you get USA at home.
Oh, you get USA at home, which.
Yeah. So I mean, you're right. It's tough, but I think it's tough with a fantastic opportunity for Mexico. But that's a month away. Where we're at right now, we're 6 games in, so we're at about 40% of the way through. You're a teacher, am I right? About 40%.
I'm not a math teacher, but I don't know.
All right.
9. How many games left? 6? 15?
Yeah. There's 8 games left. About 40. We'll round down to 40. About 40% people. And so you have Honduras at
6 of 14. I don't think it's 40%. Is it? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, well, we're rounding. We're rounding, guys. So Honduras bottom, 3 points, no wins. 6th or 8th place, El Salvador. 5th, Jamaica 5th. They're tied for 6th. You have Costa Rica with 6 points. They're in 5th. Panama, which would be the playoff right now, at 8th. And then the next 3 teams all automatically qualify. Canada 6, or Canada with 10, USA with 11, Mexico with 14. So that's where we're at this point. Guti, Mexico, USA, Canada feel comfortable. Is Panama the team that's going to finish 4th right now, or where are you feeling?
No, I'm sticking with the Reggae boys, man.
Sticking with Jamaica? All right,
and don't be surprised if they get 3rd, man. They can still catch Canada, I'm telling you.
I almost lost all faith in Jamaica, but they brought me back. I was close, but they brought me back. So yeah, I'm still in it with Jamaica. I think I said that back before qualifying that it would be US, Mexico, Canada, Jamaica. I almost gave up on Jamaica, but they brought me back. So I'm still sticking with it.
I'm still playing, the Reggae over here. So I'm
keeping an eye on El Salvador. I think Costa Rica will bottom out at some point. But in Panama, I think it continues to be the wild card. Do they start off hot? Can they keep it up? We'll see.
They've definitely been the surprise. They've been the surprise of this. They're probably like, man, it's crazy to see a little country soccer wise do this and continue to, hey, we were in the last World Cup, let's do this. They're showing some swagger. Jamaica always underachieving from what we think they could do. So we'll see. But I'm still gonna put Jamaica at that 4 spot.
All right. Okay. Any 50-50s for you?
50-50, man. All those water baggies getting thrown on the field during the Mexico game. Just being thrown, people kind of just ignoring it. And I know it's kind of like, well, look what they're doing. And, it's kind of like, hey, we're doing something wrong and they're not, they're calling it on us. What are your thoughts on that? As far as like that level of just trash being thrown all over the whole game, the entire game. Trash.
Yeah. I think I would like to think that if I was one of the field players and if I was a badass, if by the second goal, I would have grabbed it and pretended and like drank it. But that's just me thinking that I would do that or hoping that I would do that. But
you don't know what's in those bags, bro.
I'm not surprised, I guess. Or I'm not surprised. I'm not affected by it, or I'm not like, I'm not demanding that something then be sanctioned or anything like that. I think it just comes with the territory. You know what I mean? It's not pig's heads like people say, or batteries that people have said, or any of these things. So, I think it is what it is. I think the players are not surprised by it, wouldn't be affected by it. You know what I mean? So it's not the worst treatment Mexico's gotten in El Salvador, to be honest with you.
No. No. It was a little old school vibe, but I do miss those CONCACAF day games. I miss them, man. Yes. Whether it's El Salvador, whether it was Honduras.
Especially Honduras.
Yeah. Whether it was even La Estadio Azteca when they play at home.
Yeah.
Like those day games were just, it was kind of cool. It was like a Friday somehow. Randomly, it was a Friday sometimes. You get home from school and it was on. You're like, what? And it was just like, I don't know. You could just see the camera shaky and it was blurry. And it was just always kind of like a blurry image. It was cool, man.
I really wish they would kind of separate these game times a little bit with that, because I think you're right. It's something I really miss is Saprissa Stadium for Costa Rica. Those games for Costa Rica at home. I think they miss it too.
Because it was the people were on top of the game.
Top of you.
They're on that fence and it had that Argentina vibe, right? Where they're on the fence, they're on that gate, and you saw the field way closer. And when they play at these national stadiums, I know that's what they have and they want to use it, but the track just ruins it, bro. It's like you're too far.
Yeah, and so I heard El Salvador might be getting a stadium like that as well, because the Chinese government built and funded the whole stadium for Costa Rica. They apparently have a similar plan set up with El Salvador, where they're gonna build them a Olympic stadium and all that stuff, and great for a lot of things, but when it comes to an atmosphere and a soccer match, that's pretty. I think it's affected Costa Rica because the Saprissa Stadium. I remember watching games like that, and it's like turf too. It was
on turf. It was dark,
and that old
the
turf.
lights were like kind of gloomy.
Yeah,
it was fun.
It was like that old turf, that kind of Astro turf thing. Yeah.
Yeah, when you see the turf, you see the little turf pieces come up every time they kick the ball.
Yeah, those were. It would be kind of bad for. It would be a shame for like El Salvador to kind of lose that home field advantage. I think Costa Rica has kind of lost that little edge that they've had. And it's worked out for Panama, because Panama is kind of now building their kind of home field, and they're with the new stadium that they got, and now they're kind of building an atmosphere. So it works both ways. And unfortunately, I think for Costa Rica it hasn't helped. For Panama, it has helped. You have Honduras with a good home field when they're playing well. But no, for your original question, I'm not really bothered by that. As a fan, I'm not going to be sitting on my rooftop crying that they're treating us differently by what El Salvador is able to get away with.
Sounds good.
But my 50-50 is qualifying. We have Germany, the first team that isn't a host nation to qualify for the World Cup. We have Denmark qualifying as well. We have, Brazil pretty much they're running away with CONMEBOL, and they can wrap up qualifying. At the very least, they already have top 5 locked up, and they're qualified automatically by November too. So, it's now starting to come to fruition, this World Cup, with these teams now locking in spots. How do you feel?
Yeah. I love qualifiers, man. I think it's the best part of this. I think it's the best because you just see like a different, I mean, you can't fake it, right? You can't fake it in whether it's 10 games, 8 games, whatever you have to play 12. You can't fake it. And
18.
I'm not saying in the World Cup you can, but the World Cup you're playing to a result. And so, like, you could have a Costa Rica make a run where you're like, they made a run, and can they do it again? Probably not. And so this is like, there's no faking it, bro. Like you said, Brazil is just dominating everybody. The rest of the teams are really fighting. They're struggling. You see Chile always struggling to qualify. You see other teams that just can't figure it out. You see in Europe, like you said, some of these big names, but there's always those big name countries that are in a group that they're going to get second. They have to go play a playoff. So, I love the qualifiers. There's so many games, and you can't fake it. I like it. It's a year long, almost half a year long competition. It's cool. I love it.
And, for everybody just to remind everybody, the 4th place team from CONCACAF, the 5th place team from CONMEBOL, the Oceanic champions, and then the winner of Asia, the two teams who finished 3rd in their groups play each other head to head, and then the winner of that, they all play get seeded or put together in a draw for the last 2 spots of the World Cup.
So it's not set up already for.
They don't have it set up now. They're doing it. Okay. They're drawing now. So they used to have it set up. You're right.
Yeah, so they're all going to send one, and they're going to play, and they're going to do a little bit.
Draw.
A shuffle, a draw to see who plays each other. So it could be. You could have Panama getting in and having to play the 5th or the 6th team in CONMEBOL, right?
The 5th, they play.
Don't they have 5 tickets already?
No, 4. They had 4.5, but because because it was in Brazil 1, so they automatically got extra line 14 and stuff. But and so, but you're right. In the past, they used to rotate it for the longest time. They just
one time was the Asian team. One time it was CONMEBOL. The next time was the Oceania. Yeah. But they didn't have the Asian team playing it, did they before?
Yeah. What was it? So when Trinidad and Tobago made it in 2006, they played an Asian team.
Okay.
And
I remember Uruguay had to beat Australia like in PKs. Like
yes, I think ago. that was the 2006 World Cup too. I believe that was the same one. And then in 2010 or 2014, Mexico played New Zealand. Yeah. And in 2010, I think Costa Rica lost to Uruguay. Might be, I think that was it. And so, and then I don't remember what happened in 16.
Okay, well, that'd be good. That'd be good to eye there and see where the reggae boys are going, see who they're playing.
Yeah, because if you're right, it makes it so interesting because now you don't know. So I think if they get matched up against CONMEBOL, you figure the South American team are favorites. They have an opportunity, whether it's Colombia, whether it's Uruguay,
like New Zealand,
whether it's Ecuador,
or Tahiti, or Fiji, whoever wins that Oceania, Jamaica has to be a favorite,
Yeah, and if they get whoever comes out of Asia, I think it's a toss up kind of. It's a very even matchup. So we'll see.
Yeah,
it makes it more interesting. Makes it fun. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
As long as Mexico's not in that game, we're good. We don't need to.
Yeah, we're good. I think we're feeling good about it too. So yeah. Quickly before we leave, just crunching the numbers. It was 29 was the magic number, more or less, from the projections we had from past results. 29 would win you the group. Mexico's at 14, so they're well on their way of reaching that with a couple of games in hand. And then to get that sweet spot of the top of number 4, I believe it was 21 points. 18 points, above 18 points. So that's kind of more or less the magic number mathematically, what you want. And Panama's got 8. So I don't know. I think the number might be a little lower this time.
Things will definitely be like already set up by not this next window, but the one after that.
Yeah, because I mean, it's so tight, right? Because this is the only window where there's 2 games. The next one's in March and February. It's 3 and then 3 again. So they're coming fast, man. They're coming fast, and they're not going to stop.
Nope.
There's a late January / early February window, and then a March window. So
okay,
it's 3 more windows.
Yeah, it's not a lot by January for sure. I think.
You think like 10 games, a lot. There's 8 games. There's a lot, but the fact that they're coming out hot is going to makes it so much more intense and much more difficult to figure out. But,
I agree.
Well, I mean, good. I think that does it for this week. Appreciate you as always. You're the man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for joining me. It's top of the 8th. Dodgers Giants tie 1-1, game 5. So I'll keep track of that. But yeah, you got that on? Oh no.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't like the Dodgers either, though, so it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you being on the show. I appreciate everyone listening. Make sure you hit us up, and we'll start picking things up next week.
Yeah, that's right. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you, guys.
All
Bye.
right. It's kind of like, well, it's one of those.
It was especially when they were starting out.